I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, and if you're over 60, I want you to hear this clearly. You go to bed at a reasonable hour, you're tired, you've done your best to wind down, yet sleep feels light, fragile, and somewhere between 1 and 3 in the morning, your eyes open again. Not from noise, not by choice, but because something inside simply won't stay asleep. You've tried melatonin, sleep teas, even prescription medication. Yet that deep, steady sleep you remember from years ago never quite returns. And this is where I want to introduce something surprisingly simple. Lemon. Not as a garnish, not as a sharp, cold drink before bed, but as a gentle night signal, a way to nudge the systems that once controlled your sleep back into the rhythm they used to follow. Because after 60, the real problem usually isn't no sleep, it's weak sleep signals. GABA, the brain's braking system, loses strength. Cortisol doesn't fall on time. Melatonin rises too slowly, and the gut sends tiny messages of unease that keep the brain half awake. Used the right way, lemon doesn't act like a pill. It acts like a reminder, a natural cue that supports these systems instead of overpowering them. That's why 4 specific lemon rituals can help your body stay asleep, not just fall asleep. If any of this feels like your night, give this video a like so more seniors can finally understand what's happening to their sleep. And tell me in the comments where you're tuning in from. It helps me understand who I'm walking through these nights with. After 60, one of the most important changes in the brain is something you can't feel directly, but you can feel the consequences of it every night. It's the gradual decline of GABA, the neurotransmitter that works like the brain's natural brake pedal. When GABA is strong, the mind slows, thoughts loosen, muscles soften, and the body drifts effortlessly into deeper sleep. When GABA weakens, the mind doesn't shut down the way it used to. Starting around age 60, GABA activity can fall by 30 to 40%. That loss doesn't create dramatic symptoms. It creates subtle ones, the kind people blame on just aging. It takes longer to fall asleep. You sleep but hover near the surface. Small noises pull you awake. Dreams feel lighter. And the transition into deep sleep, the stage where the body repairs tissue, restores memory, and lowers inflammation, becomes harder to reach. This is why so many older adults describe their sleep as easily broken. Their brain isn't resisting sleep. It simply doesn't have the braking power it once had. And this is where lemon becomes relevant. The limonene found in lemon peel and the linalool in its natural aroma can gently enhance GABA's ability to bind to its receptors. It doesn't replace GABA. It doesn't force sleep. It simply makes the remaining signals more effective. The way a warm hand steadies someone who is already trying to slow down, warm lemon water also stimulates the vagus nerve, the pathway that turns off the body's stress alarms. When that nerve softens, the brain feels a little safer, and the brake pedal becomes easier to press. Lemon isn't a sedative. It's a signal, a quiet nudge reminding the brain, it's time to settle now. Every night your body runs on a seesaw. As cortisol falls, melatonin rises. One goes down, the other goes up. That simple rhythm is what pulls you into the night. But after 60, that seesaw often stops working smoothly, and the night becomes unpredictable. For many older adults, cortisol doesn't drop when the sun goes down. It stays slightly elevated, lingering just high enough to keep the brain alert. You may not feel stressed, you may not feel anxious, but your physiology behaves as if the day hasn't ended. And because melatonin can't rise fully until cortisol falls, the sleep cycle never locks into place. This is why so many seniors fall asleep easily, only to wake between 1 and 3 a.m. The body entered sleep without the proper hormonal rhythm, so the moment cortisol pulses, which it naturally does during the night, the brain slips out of rest. Lemon supports this seesaw in several ways. Its vitamin C helps regulate adrenal function, allowing cortisol to taper at the right time. Its polyphenols reduce inflammation. Inflammation is one of the main reasons melatonin struggles to rise in older adults, and the aroma of lemon itself lowers sympathetic activity, the daytime mode of the nervous system that should be silent at night. Together, these effects don't knock you out. They give the seesaw a chance to work again. cortisol gently down, melatonin gently up, the way it did decades ago when your body switched into night mode without effort. When these signals realign, sleep stops feeling fragile. The night becomes one continuous experience instead of a series of interruptions. There's one more system we need to talk about, and for many older adults, it's the one that quietly breaks sleep without ever making a sound. It's the gut-brain axis, the communication loop between your digestive system and your nervous system. And after 60, this loop weakens in ways that directly affect how deeply you sleep. Most people don't realize this, but more than 90% of your serotonin, the hormone that later becomes melatonin, is produced in the gut, not the brain. When digestion slows with age, or when inflammation builds silently inside the intestines, serotonin production drops. And when serotonin drops, melatonin never gets the foundation it needs. The result is a pattern older adults know well. You fall asleep, but you don't drop into sleep. You hover near the surface. You slip in and out. Your sleep feels light, unfinished, easy to disturb. And there's another consequence. When the gut becomes sensitive or sluggish, it sends tiny danger signals through the vagus nerve. Signals so subtle you don't feel them consciously, but strong enough to keep the brain from fully surrendering to the night. The body stays on alert even without pain or discomfort. This is where lemon quietly helps. The pectin in lemon acts as a gentle prebiotic, feeding the good bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids, compounds linked to better serotonin activity. Warm lemon water stimulates mild gastric movement, reducing the bloating or heaviness that often breaks sleep in adults over 60. And lemon's polyphenols help calm gut inflammation, reducing those background danger notes traveling to the brain. When the gut is calm, serotonin rises. When serotonin rises, melatonin follows. And when melatonin follows, the night finally feels like night again. When you look at these three systems together, GABA, the cortisol melatonin rhythm, and the gut-brain axis, the picture becomes clear. Your sleep didn't fall apart because you stopped trying. It changed because the signals that once guided your nights grew quieter with age. Lemon isn't a sleeping pill. It won't force the brain to shut down. What it does is gentler and far more important. It supports the very pathways your body relies on to recognize that the day has ended. And now that you understand the biology behind it, let's count down the 4 lemon rituals, from the lightest to the most powerful, that can help restore the rhythm your nights have been missing. Number 4, lemon peel steam. We'll begin with something simple, a light sensory reset that works on the very first layer of sleep, your breathing. Many adults over 60 don't realize how often shallow airflow, mild congestion, or a tight feeling across the nose breaks their sleep. Not enough to wake you fully, but enough to keep sleep light, fragile, and easily interrupted. Lemon peel steam helps clear that layer gently. I once worked with a 72-year-old man named Carl who kept waking every hour without knowing why he didn't snore loudly. He didn't have allergies. He just felt his sleep never held. When we tested a basic lemon steam ritual, something shifted. His airways opened. The tension across his face eased. And for the first time in months, he told me, my sleep felt continuous. What he was really feeling was the absence of the microarousals caused by poor airflow. Here's why it works. The essential oils in lemon peel, especially limonene, rise with warm steam and gently open the nasal passages. When the nose clears, the body shifts out of its subtle fight-or-flight pattern and into a calmer respiratory rhythm. Deeper breaths activate the parasympathetic system, lowering the quiet nighttime vigilance that keeps older adults from dropping into deep sleep. And because the steam is warm rather than hot, it signals safety without stimulating the system. Lemon steam also helps reduce mild snoring or that soft crackling noise older adults notice when the airways are dry. When the air moves smoothly, the brain doesn't need to monitor the breath so closely. A small but meaningful change that often prevents those unnecessary awakenings through the night. To use it, place a handful of fresh lemon peels in a bowl, pour hot, not boiling water over them, lean in at a safe distance, and drape a light towel loosely over your head. Close your eyes and breathe gently for 2 to 3 minutes. You're not trying to inhale deeply. You're letting the warmth and citrus oils clear the passage on their own. More than 3 minutes is unnecessary. The effect is quick, and too much heat can irritate. This method is especially helpful if you wake because your breathing feels shallow, if your nose tightens at night, or if you sleep lightly due to subtle congestion you don't notice during the day. When the breath flows smoothly, the body receives its first and most primitive message of the night. You're safe, and once that message lands, we can move deeper, toward the parts of the body that hold tension long after the lights go out. Number 3, lemon foot soak plus Epsom salt. Once the breath is open and the body feels safe, the next layer we need to address is circulation. Many adults over 60 don't realize how much cold feet, tight calves, or sluggish evening blood flow interfere with deep sleep. You may not fully wake up because of it, but your brain does. A foot soak with warm water, lemon, and Epsom salt helps restore that flow in a way older bodies understand immediately. I once worked with a 69-year-old woman named Denise who described her sleep as thin, not restless, not anxious, just thin. She fell asleep easily, but her nights felt fragile. Her feet were always cold, even when she wore socks. And almost every night around 3 a.m., she woke up without knowing why. When we introduced a simple lemon Epsom soak, her sleep changed within days. Her feet warmed, her legs stopped tightening at night, and she told me, "My sleep finally feels connected again." Here's why it works. Warm water draws blood toward the lower limbs, releasing the internal tension that builds up from sitting, walking, or standing throughout the day. Epsom salt adds magnesium, which eases calf tightness, reduces microcramping, and helps muscles soften. Then lemon enters with its own role. Its natural oils open the skin's tiny vessels, and its aroma lowers the body's sympathetic tone, the day mode that should be quiet at night. Together, this creates a gentle drop in core temperature, which is essential for deep sleep. Many people think warmth keeps you awake, but the opposite is true. When the feet warm, the body can release heat through them, allowing the internal temperature to fall. And once the core temperature dips, the brain enters night mode far more easily. To prepare it, fill a small basin with warm water, warm enough to comfort, never hot enough to stimulate. Add 2 slices of fresh lemon and 1 to 2 tablespoons of Epsom salt. Let your feet soak for 12 to 15 minutes. As the warmth rises through the ankles and calves, you'll feel a quiet loosening in the whole lower body, a signal your nervous system interprets as safety. This ritual helps if you have cold feet at night, restless legs in the evening, tightness in your calves, or a sense that your sleep breaks for no clear reason, because when circulation is restored, the body stops scanning for threats and allows sleep to deepen. Warmth is the second doorway into the night, and once the lower body is calm, we can move to the third. The tea that quiets the mind itself, especially those midnight awakenings that seem to come from nowhere. Number 2, lemon balm tea plus lemon. When the body is warm and circulation has settled, the next barrier to deep, uninterrupted sleep is the mind itself. The quiet hum of thoughts that rises exactly when you don't want it. For many adults over 60, this shows up as the classic pattern. You fall asleep fine, only to wake between 1 and 3 a.m. with a mind that feels strangely alert. This is where lemon balm, paired with just a touch of lemon, becomes one of the most powerful tools you can use at night. Lemon balm has been used for centuries across Europe and the Middle East to calm what was once called nocturnal agitation, the restlessness of the mind that appears after dusk. Today we understand why. Lemon balm contains luteolin and rosmarinic acid, 2 compounds that increase GABA signaling, quiet the limbic system, and reduce the low-grade anxiety that often goes unrecognized in older adults. When you add a few drops of lemon, the citrus oils enhance that GABA effect while gently lowering nighttime cortisol, helping the brain shift out of day mode. I'm reminded of a woman named Marjorie, 68, who came to me after months of broken nights. She didn't describe herself as stressed. She didn't feel anxious. But every night, almost at the same minute, 2:58 a.m., she would wake with a mind that felt switched on. Not panicked, just alert. After 1 week of a simple lemon balm infusion with a squeeze of warm lemon in the evening, those awakenings dropped by nearly 70%. By the end of the month, she was sleeping through most nights for the first time in years. Here's what makes this ritual effective. Unlike sedatives, lemon balm doesn't force the brain downward. It softens it. It reduces the background noise, what I often call mental static. That quieting allows the brain to transition smoothly between sleep stages rather than jolting awake at the slightest internal signal. The added lemon supports adrenal balance, easing the cortisol melatonin seesaw so your body can stay asleep once it's there. To prepare it, steep 1 tea bag of lemon balm or 1 tablespoon of dried leaves in warm water around 85 degrees Celsius, 185 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 5 minutes, then add a light squeeze of lemon. Not too much, just enough to release the aromatic oils. Drink it about 30 to 40 minutes before bed, ideally after you've already dimmed the lights and slowed your breathing. This ritual helps most if you experience midnight awakenings, racing thoughts at night, or a brain that simply refuses to settle once it's been startled awake. It supports the mind's descent into deeper layers of rest, the layers where sleep repairs, not just passes time. With the mind quieted, there's only one system left to reinforce, the one that decides whether you sleep all night or wake before dawn. And that brings us to the strongest lemon ritual of all. Number 1, warm lemon plus honey night drink. This final ritual is the strongest because it supports all 3 systems that fail most often after 60. The GABA braking system, the cortisol melatonin rhythm, and the gut-brain axis. When even one of those systems is out of sync, you might fall asleep, but you won't stay asleep. This warm lemon and honey drink helps restore all 3 at once. Most seniors who struggle between 1 and 3 a.m. don't wake because of noise or nightmares. They wake because their blood sugar dips, triggering a small adrenaline surge. It's not dramatic enough to feel like panic, just enough to pull you out of sleep, raise your heart rate slightly, or leave your mind feeling quietly alert. A teaspoon of honey before bed provides a gentle, steady release of glucose that prevents this internal drop. It doesn't spike your sugar, it simply holds the floor so adrenaline never needs to rise. Lemon then steps in with its own effects. The warm water activates the vagus nerve, the switch that tells your nervous system it's safe to power down. The citrus polyphenols calm inflammation in the gut, reducing the subtle discomforts and microsignals that often wake older adults without them realizing why. And the lemon aroma itself nudges your brain toward parasympathetic activity, helping GABA work more effectively. One of my patients, Harold, 75, thoughtful, soft-spoken, used to wake 5 or 6 times a night because of abdominal tension and a vague sense of unease, not pain, not reflux, just discomfort that kept switching his brain back on. 3 nights after starting this warm lemon and honey drink, he slept through until dawn. A week later, he told me, "It feels like my body finally knows what nighttime is again." That's exactly what this ritual does. It restores the nighttime identity your biology once held effortlessly. Here's how to prepare it. Warm about 150 milliliters, 5 ounces of water, not hot, just comfortably warm. Squeeze in half a fresh lemon, then add 1 teaspoon of honey and stir until smooth. Sip it slowly 45 to 60 minutes before bed. That timing allows the vagus nerve activation to settle, the gut to relax, and the honey to stabilize your blood sugar for the first half of the night, the window when most premature awakenings occur. This is not a sedative, it is a signal, a coordinated message to your brain, your gut, and your hormones that the night has begun, and they can stand down. And for many adults over 60, this becomes the missing anchor that turns fragmented nights into continuous, restorative sleep. Now that you've seen all 4 methods, let's talk about how to use them safely and how to choose the right one. For tonight, lemon is gentle, but like any nighttime tool, it works best when you use it with intention. Let me give you 4 simple rules that keep these rituals effective and safe, especially for adults over 60. Rule 1. Keep the dose small. Warm lemon drinks should stay around 100 to 150 milliliters. Too much liquid, even something healthy, can wake you for bathroom trips or trigger reflux. With lemon, more is not better. The signal works because it's subtle. Rule 2. Choose one method per night. Each of the 4 rituals sends its own message. Clear breathing, warmer circulation, quieter nerves, or gut-brain balance. Using more than one at the same time can confuse the body or simply overstimulate your stomach. Pick the method that matches the kind of night you've been having. Rule 3. Give your body 45 to 60 minutes before bed. This is crucial. If you use lemon right before lying down, the warmth becomes stimulating instead of relaxing. But when you give your body a short window, the signal settles. Cortisol drops, the vagus nerve activates, and the brain begins its descent. Rule 4. Adjust for your stomach. If you have acid reflux, use less lemon or focus on the foot soak or steam method instead. If your digestion is slower at night, keep the drink warm but mild. The goal is safety and comfort, not intensity. Now let's bring this home. Sleep after 60 is not something you fight for. It's something you guide your body back into, and lemon doesn't force you to sleep. It reminds the systems that once knew exactly how to keep you asleep through the night. The nerves, the hormones, and the gut. Try one method tonight. Not all 4, just the one that feels right. Maybe the steam to clear your breathing. Maybe the foot soak to settle the legs. Maybe the lemon balm tea to quiet the mind. Or the warm lemon and honey drink to support the whole system. And when you do, I'd love to hear from you. Comment the word "try" below so I know you're giving your body another chance at the sleep it deserves. And make sure you watch the next video in this series. Restore sleep after 60. It may be the missing piece in your night because your body remembers how to sleep. You just have to remind it.